She kissed the poor rancher hand to escape her suitors. But he was the millionaire in hiding. The chandelier was an abomination, dripping with fake crystals, swaying slightly in the heat, trying desperately to pretend this dusty cattle town was Paris. Beneath it, the men of Whitmoor turned slow circles in the arms of their chosen wives, or more often, their chosen ambitions. Annabeth Wilde stood at the edge of it all, spine straight, smile frozen in perfect southern bloom. Her dress, silk the colour of pale peaches, cinched her breath until her ribs ached. She wore pearls at her throat and gloves to hide her ink-stained fingers. No one must suspect she'd rather be sketching the horses tethered outside than dancing with the sweaty palms of Whitmoor's finest bachelors. "Smile, Annabeth," her father murmured beside her, tipping his hat to an approaching banker. "You're about to change your life." "Into what?" she asked, not looking at him. Mayor Thomas Wilde ignored the question, just nudged her toward the toast. Beau Larimore, the inevitable suitor, stood at the centre of the hall, raising a glass. "Ladies and gentlemen," Beau drawled, teeth white, hair slicked, "tonight we honour tradition, family, and the hope of new unions." Annabeth swallowed. The walls pressed in. She hated Beau, the way he looked at her like land with a fence around it, the way he smiled like he already owned the deed. Beau's eyes found hers. He lifted his glass higher. "And to Miss Annabeth Wilde, the brightest rose in the garden." Applause. Eyes on her, her father's hand on her elbow. She curtsied politely, stepped back, and then her hands were trembling. The room too hot, the dress a noose. Her heels clicked once, twice on the hardwood floor. Then she turned, sharp and sudden, and pushed through the crowd like a spark through dry brush. "Annabeth!" her father called, but she was already slipping past the punch bowl, out the side doors, across the porch. She didn't stop, didn't think. Her lungs clawed at the air. Out past the manicured edges of the mayor's lawn, the night opened wide and silent. Crickets thrummed, horses shifted in their stalls near the stables. That was where she saw him. A man leaned against the edge of the corral fence, shirt loose, hat tipped low, just watching the stars like he had nowhere better to be. Not a banker, not a merchant, just stillness. Something cracked in her chest. Her heart raced. Her feet carried her through the double doors, away from the dance hall and into the night air. She didn't recognize him. That was the point. "Evenin'," he said without looking at her. His voice was low, gravel and whiskey, but slow, not threatening. Annabeth stopped a few feet away, breathing hard. The ball was still pulsing behind her like a dying heartbeat, music drifting through the open doors. He finally turned his head. The brim of his hat tilted just enough for moonlight to catch his face. He was young, but not boyish, square jaw, tired eyes, scar along one cheekbone, not fresh. He looked at her like he didn't care who she was. "Ma'am," he said, brow raised. Annabeth didn't answer. Instead, her fingers curled in her skirts. Her pulse pounded in her ears, and her body moved forward. She closed the space between them in 2 steps. He barely had time to shift his boot. Then she grabbed the front of his shirt, stood on her toes, and whispered, "Just go with it," and she kissed him. His lips were warm, still, shocked. Then his hand twitched at her waist. The kiss wasn't gentle. It wasn't a performance. It was fierce, fast, and tasted like copper and peaches and fear. She pulled back, breathless, eyes wide. He blinked, stunned. "What the he—" gasps. A full chorus of them. Voices behind her. "Oh, my Lord! Annabeth! What in—" She turned slowly. Half the damn party had spilled onto the lawn, drawn by the silence of her absence or the scent of scandal. Her father stood nearest the steps, jaw clenched. Beau Larimore's fists were already balled at his sides. Someone dropped a glass. She faced them all like a general before a firing squad. Then she turned back toward the man. His expression had shifted, just slightly. He wasn't confused now. He was wary. She adjusted her gloves with practiced calm. Her voice, when she spoke, was perfectly sweet. "Thank you, sir," she said softly. "You've been of great help." He stared at her, eyes unreadable. Then, without a word, he tipped his hat, stepped away from the fence, and walked into the shadows. Just like that, the poor ranch hand was gone. Annabeth stood in the shifting torchlight, her breath calm now, her gloves smoothed down, as if she hadn't just detonated her reputation with one kiss. She turned slowly to face the crowd, gathering at the edge of the porch. It looked like all of Whitmoor had filed out of the dance hall to catch a whiff of the scandal. Gasps still fluttered like birds. Someone was crying, possibly for fun. An older woman had fainted entirely. Miss Claiborne, a perennial swooner with a parasol collection and no real heart trouble. Beau Larimore stood front and centre, looking like he'd swallowed a mouthful of sand. Did you? He stammered. Annabeth smiled at him. "You always said I should stop playing coy." "You kissed a ranch hand," he said, "in front of everyone." "Better than kissing a liar," she replied sweetly. That lit a few murmurs. She caught the eyes of several of the town matrons, Mrs. Carver, Mrs. Liddell, judging her with the keen eyes of women who'd bartered their own marriages for comfort long ago. "Who was that man?" someone whispered. "He works for the McKenna herd, doesn't he?" someone else offered. "Drives fence posts and brands steers. Doesn't speak much, keeps to himself. I thought he was just a drifter. I heard he killed someone once. Was he armed?" The rumours were already blooming, wild and sharp as prairie weeds. Mayor Thomas Wilde finally pushed through the crowd, boots thudding hard against the porch as he stepped down onto the grass. "Annabeth," he barked, "inside, now!" She didn't flinch. "Why?" His voice dropped to a public growl. "We will discuss this privately." "Oh, I think we already have an audience," she said, raising her voice just slightly. Might as well give them a show. More gasps, more delight. "Annabeth," Thomas hissed through clenched teeth, stepping closer. "This is not a matter for entertainment." "No," she agreed, "this is a matter of preference. I've simply made mine known." "You've embarrassed this family." "I believe I've only embarrassed myself, which is much more efficient." Beau tried to step in, all concern and wounded pride. "Annabeth, if you're upset about the engagement rumours, we can talk about it. There's no need to—" She turned on him so sharply he flinched. "You're right," she said. "There's no need. That's why I didn't ask." The crowd murmured again, delighted and scandalised in equal measure. "I kissed a man, not the devil," she added, walking calmly past both of them. "And unless someone wants to pass a law against that, I suggest everyone go back to their watered-down punch and mediocre waltz." She climbed the steps and swept back into the ballroom like a queen returning to a court she no longer feared. Behind her, the crowd began to murmur in earnest, torn between outrage and awe. Mayor Thomas stood fuming. Beau stood blinking. And from the darkness near the edge of the stables, a ranch hand with a hidden name turned once more toward the night and kept walking. Inside the town hall, the music had faltered, then resumed, awkward and faintly off-key, like a drunk trying to remember the second verse. People danced with one eye on the doors, whispering behind fans and glasses of tepid punch. Annabeth re-entered like a drop of ink into water. The crowd rippled away from her, unsure whether to scold her or admire her. No one dared speak directly. They'd seen her spine and the kiss. Her gloves were off now, crumpled in one hand. She walked straight to the refreshment table, picked up a glass of lemonade, and took a slow sip as if the world weren't ending behind her. She didn't have to wait long. Mayor Thomas appeared at her elbow like a thunderhead. His smile was plastered on, but his fingers were white around the rim of his whiskey glass. "In the cloakroom," he said under his breath. "No." His nostrils flared. "We will speak. Now." She didn't flinch. "You can scold me right here, Papa. They're already watching." He seized her arm. Not roughly, not yet, but enough for his intent to hum beneath his fingertips. She set down her drink and let him pull her toward the back hallway, the hush of scandal following in their wake. Once the door shut behind them, his temper flared to full height. "What in God's name were you thinking?" he hissed, voice low but razor-sharp. "You kissed a stable hand, a filthy, nameless ranch drifter, in front of half the Board of Commerce." She looked him straight in the eye. "I wasn't aware kissing required a resume. You've ruined months of work. Beau was going to propose tonight. I had every paper in place. You just cost this family its future." "Or saved it from a lifetime of repulsive dinner conversation," she said, yanking her arm free. "You are a Wilde," he snapped. "Act like it." "I did," she snapped back. "I took something I wasn't given permission for. I called a man's bluff, and I made damn sure everyone remembered my name tonight." He stepped back, blinking. That wasn't the response he expected. She could almost see it, the calculations spinning behind his eyes. Political damage, marital alliances, board positions, votes, land, and Annabeth, burning through all of them like a match pressed to oilskin. He softened his voice, tried diplomacy. "Darling, this will follow you. They'll say you're wild, that you're... I'd rather be wild than purchased." He looked at her for a long moment, jaw tight. Then, "Is there something I should know about this man?" "No?" "You've met before?" "No." He stared harder. "Then why that man? Why him?" She gave a half smile, quiet and unreadable. "Because he wasn't anyone," she said, "and that made him perfect." Mayor Thomas Wilde's jaw tensed. "You will fix this," he said. "No," she said, stepping past him. "I really don't think I will." Annabeth left her father standing in the darkened hallway, jaw locked, hands empty. She pushed open the door and walked back into the ballroom. Not fast, not flustered, just present, just there, a little too steady, a little too quiet. The eye of her own storm. Every neck craned, every conversation stuttered. 100 small lives grinding to a halt so they could feast on one larger one. She could feel the heat of it on her skin. The scandal had bloomed already. She saw it in the way the dancing had grown uneven, how the string quartet hit the wrong note and kept playing, how people moved their eyes just a second too late when she passed. She paused at the edge of the dance floor. The chandelier still swayed, its too bright light catching on polished boots and stiff dresses and false smiles. Couples twirled with nervous delight, unsure whether to acknowledge her or pretend they'd seen nothing. She gave them no instruction. She gave them only herself. Annabeth stepped onto the floor, alone, no partner, no escort. The music played on, an old waltz, tired and slow. She pivoted on her heel, lifted her chin, and began to dance. Not well, not to impress. Just movement, just presence, just a single woman swaying like she had no idea there were rules or that she was breaking all of them. She caught a glimpse of Beau at the far end, watching her like a man watching a match slip down to his fingertips. He didn't come near. She didn't stop. Let them talk. Let them spin their stories. Let them invent affairs, illegitimacies, ruined inheritances. Let them write her tragedy in ink before she'd even lived it. She would dance anyway, and the man she kissed, gone. No name, no story, no apology. And yet, somewhere behind her ribs, the memory of his hand at her waist and the quiet power in his stillness bloomed like thunderclouds. The drifter, the ranch hand, the nobody. She let her fingers press against her own ribs as if she could trap the echo there. One kiss, and it had turned the whole town on its head. Annabeth woke to the sound of someone knocking at the parlour doors downstairs. Frantic, high-pitched, and far too early for good intentions. Sunlight sliced through the lace curtains of her bedroom, catching on the edges of her hairbrush, her mirror, and the empty gloves laid out like a warning on the vanity. She lay still, listening. Another knock, then the voice of Rosa, their long-suffering maid. "Sir, she ain't received yet." "Of course she's received," trilled another voice, round and syrupy. "I brought peonies." "It's sympathy, Rosa, not intrusion." Annabeth sighed and sat up. Her head ached, not from liquor, but from the weight of all the things she hadn't regretted. By the time she pulled on her robe and descended the staircase, Mrs. Carver had already made herself comfortable on the velvet chaise, bonnet still on, flowers in hand, and scandal practically leaking out of her pores. "Oh, my darling girl," Mrs. Carver cooed, rising to greet her like they were sisters in tragedy. "You must be simply drowning in emotion." "Something like that," Annabeth murmured, accepting the bouquet and glancing at Rosa, who gave a silent, exhausted shrug before disappearing back into the kitchen. Mrs. Carver settled back down and leaned forward conspiratorially. "They say you kissed him first." "I did." "They say he didn't stop you." "He didn't. And they say," here she dropped her voice to a breathy whisper, "that you're engaged." Annabeth blinked. "Are we?" Mrs. Carver's mouth dropped open. "You mean it's not?" "Oh, the mayor hasn't told me a thing. He's been shut up in his study all morning like the devil himself is writing telegrams." Annabeth smiled softly. "Well, let them think what they want. Saves time." Mrs. Carver beamed. "Oh, darling, you always did have such drama." Annabeth curtsied low. A family gift. The woman left 10 minutes later, armed with gossip and a suspiciously approving glint in her eye. Alone again, Annabeth made her way into the breakfast room where her father sat, grim as a gavel, poring over a telegram. He didn't look up. "You have a chance to correct this." She poured herself tea. "Beau is willing to forgive the embarrassment," Thomas continued, voice clipped, "but only if you issue a public statement, denying affection, attributing the kiss to confusion." Annabeth stirred 2 sugars into her cup. "Don't do this," he said. "Don't throw away everything we've built." She looked up at him then, calm and steady. "What exactly did we build, Papa? Because I don't remember picking out any of the bricks." He stood sharply, chair scraping. She took a slow sip of tea. "Tell Beau not to wait up." And with that, she turned and walked out, already planning the ride out to McKenna Ranch. If the town believed she was in love with the ranch hand, well, she might as well hire him. That's what Annabeth told herself as she rode through the dry-baked outskirts of Whitmoor, hat tipped low against the sun, a fresh layer of gossip trailing her like dust off the hooves of her borrowed mare. The McKenna Ranch sat 5 miles north of town. Nothing special to look at, just scrub and fences and low, sloping hills that peeled into the horizon. But it was where he'd gone. She'd asked around with all the subtlety of a woman who'd never needed to ask before. The hands, said the tall one, quiet, dark-haired, lean as a whip, had been bunking in the McKenna shed and working the east pasture since late spring. She spotted him before she reached the gate. He was alone, half a mile out, hammering a fence post into hard ground, shirt tied around his waist, skin burned bronze by the Texas sun. From the distance he looked carved, like something left behind by a war or a storm, intent, efficient, silent. She dismounted and left the horse tethered. No fanfare, no introductions. As she crossed the field toward him, her boots gathering dust, he looked up, just once, and went back to work. The air between them tightened. "Come to kiss me again?" he asked without turning around. Annabeth raised a brow. "I came to thank you, but I can adjust my plans." He kept hammering. 1, 2, the thud of wood into earth. Then he stepped back, turned toward her, and wiped sweat from his brow with the back of one wrist. Up close, he was taller than she remembered, rough, real. He didn't look like someone who belonged on her arm at a ball. That had been the point. "I figured you'd be halfway to Dallas by now," he said. "I live here." "You sure about that?" His eyes flicked over her. Silk riding skirt, gloved hands, perfume no doubt still clinging from the ball. "You don't seem like you belong anywhere near this kind of dirt." She smiled, dry as dust. "Not everyone gets to hide behind calluses." That earned a small pause. He looked at her differently now, still guarded but curious. She pulled an envelope from her satchel and held it out. "This is for you." "What is it?" "Money." He didn't take it. "For the inconvenience," she added. He didn't move. "I understand what I did was inconsiderate," she said. "You got dragged into something you didn't ask for. This makes us even." He looked down at the envelope, then back up. "I'm not for sale." "I'm not buying you. I'm thanking you." His jaw flexed. "And here I thought you were used to people taking things without asking." That stung, more than she'd expected. She let the envelope hang for a second longer, then tucked it back into her bag. Fine. So he had principles, or pride, or both. "You don't want the money," she said. "All right, then maybe you prefer a job." That actually stopped him. His brows lifted. "Come again?" She folded her arms. "Everyone in town thinks we're courting. That kiss wasn't just a scandal, it was an announcement. So I need you to play the part. 1 week, just long enough for things to quiet down. No real affection required." He laughed once, short, quiet, bitter. "You're serious?" "Very." "You want me to fake court you? For a week?" "Yes." "No." Annabeth blinked. "You don't even want to hear what I'm offering?" "I'm not interested in games." "It's not a game. It's strategy. It's trouble. It's business," she snapped. "You seem like someone who could use the money. I seem like someone with too much of it. The math isn't complicated." He stared at her for a long moment, long enough for her heart to tick once, twice, then again. Finally he said, "You're not going to let this go, are you?" "No." His eyes narrowed. "And if I say yes, what do I get out of it?" "A week's pay," she said, levelling her voice. "Clean, quiet, no touching, no strings. I make a few appearances with you on my arm. You nod, maybe smile once, then you go back to hammering fences." He looked past her, out at the hills. Then he turned, wiped his hands on his pants and muttered, "Hell." Annabeth tilted her head. "Is that a yes?" "It's a maybe." "That's practically a contract." Luke didn't smile, but something about the tightness in his shoulders shifted, like she'd said something just off-key enough to surprise him. He walked past her, toward the water pump, and dunked a tin ladle with one hand. The well water ran clear and cold, catching the edge of the late morning sun. Annabeth waited. She didn't follow. She'd already pushed far enough for one day. When he finally spoke, it was without looking at her. "You think this helps you?" "I know it does." "You're the mayor's daughter," he said, setting the ladle down. "You could spin straw into silk with a curtsy. You don't need me." "You're wrong," she said. "I need someone they can't touch, and someone who owes me nothing." "That's a fine way of saying disposable." "It's a fine way of saying inconvenient." He turned, arms folded now, jaw tight. "Let me make something clear, Miss Wilde. I don't court women. I don't talk much. I sure as hell don't smile for show. You want a puppet? Find one with fewer bad habits." "You're not a puppet," she said, taking a step toward him. "You're a distraction. There's a difference." He held her gaze for several seconds. Too long. The air between them thickened like honey left in the sun. Then he said, "1 week." "Done." "No touching." She raised a brow. "You're the one with the boundary issues. I'm perfectly house-trained." He ignored that. "No questions. About me, my past, why I'm here. You're not that interesting. And no lies." That one caught her. She straightened slightly. "About what?" "About what this is. You want fake? Fine, but don't act surprised when it feels like it." She bit the inside of her cheek and nodded. 1 week, he said again. "You don't try to dress me up. I don't try to be polite. After that, you go back to your world. I go back to mine." Annabeth reached into her satchel and pulled out a small envelope. "What's that?" "An advance." He didn't move to take it. She stepped forward, pressed it lightly against his chest. Their eyes locked. He took it. "Congratulations, Mr. Nobody," she said, brushing past him. "You're officially courting me." And 1/2 mile away, inside a private office that smelled of polished wood and tobacco, Beau Larimore wanted to kill him. "I don't care if he's dirt poor or sunburned or mute," Beau snapped, pacing the mayor's study like a panther in tight boots. "That man just humiliated me in front of every name that matters in this town." Mayor Thomas sat behind his desk, sipping whiskey at an hour he usually reserved for letters of condolence. His waistcoat was unbuttoned, his tie slightly askew. The scandal had aged him 5 years overnight. "I warned her to back down," he muttered. "Told her it was just a phase." "It's not a phase, Thomas. It's a goddamn chess move." Beau leaned both hands on the desk, close enough to sneer. "She's parading that man around like he's royalty, and everyone's watching." Thomas scowled. "You think I don't know that? I think you're not doing a damn thing about it." There was a silence then, quiet enough to feel like a threat. Thomas Wilde might have been a politician, but he wasn't soft. He ran Whitmoor with a handshake and a hidden knife. He set down his glass. "What do you propose?" Beau straightened. "We find out who he is, where he came from, who's paying him, because men like that don't just land in our laps without a reason." "You think it's a scheme?" "I think no one just walks into town with arms like a blacksmith and a face like a wanted poster and doesn't have something to hide." Thomas exhaled slowly, eyes narrowing. "There is something," he murmured. "About him." Beau blinked. "What do you mean?" "I don't know. Something in his face, his eyes, familiar but not recent. I've seen him, or someone like him before. Years ago." Beau turned, pacing again. "I don't care if he's the ghost of Sam Houston. I want him gone." Thomas reached into a drawer and pulled out a calling card. Plain, cream, no name on the front. He flipped it over. An address in Austin. No return name, just a sigil, a coiled rattlesnake around a fountain pen. Beau looked at it. "That's who I think it is." Thomas nodded. "He's discreet, expensive, and not a man who asks questions before acting." Beau's jaw twitched. "Shall I send for him?" Thomas asked. "Yes," Beau said, "and tell him I don't want a report. I want leverage." But by the time the sun dipped below the West Hills, Annabeth had already found her own. She returned to the mayor's house at twilight, skirts dusted, gloves gone, face aglow from the heat and the success of a plan half formed and already in motion. The maid, Rosa, blinked when she came through the front door without an escort. "You're late, miss." "I was early for tomorrow," Annabeth replied. In the dining room, the table was already set. China, candles, cutlery. Her father was seated at the head, a telegram folded beside his untouched plate. Beau Larimore stood by the mantelpiece, arms crossed, as if waiting for someone to hand him a crown. Annabeth swept in, graceful as smoke, and took her seat. Thomas looked up, voice clipped. "We have guests in an hour. I expect you to dress properly." "I already have," she said, unfolding her napkin. Beau stepped forward. "You disappeared." "Briefly." "You rode out of town?" "I needed air." "I came here to speak with you," he said, his voice suddenly lowering into what he no doubt thought was charm. "To tell you that despite the incident, I'm still open to our arrangement." Annabeth reached for the wine carafe. "How generous!" "We can forget what happened, put it behind us, but only if we do it now." She poured herself half a glass. "There's nothing to forget, Beau." He stiffened. "So that's it, then?" "No," she said, lifting her glass and looking at her father. "That's not it." Thomas narrowed his eyes. She sipped, swallowed, and said, cool as lake water, "I'm engaged." The silence was immediate. Beau froze. Thomas leaned forward, almost imperceptibly. Rosa, who had just entered with a dish of bread rolls, dropped the tray with a clatter. "To who?" Thomas asked, though he already knew. "To the man I kissed." "No," Thomas said instantly. Beau took a step back, the colour rising in his neck. "You can't be serious." "I can," she said, buttering her roll. "And I am." "You don't even know his name," Beau snapped. Annabeth turned to him, her voice smooth. "Luke." "Luke what?" "I don't ask last names when I kiss someone, Beau. It ruins the moment." Thomas stood. "This is madness." "It's settled," she said, taking another sip. "You said yourself, Whitmoor thrives on appearances, so I'm appearing engaged. For now." "You think this is a game?" Beau asked. "You think you can parade some dirt-hander through town and no one will care?" "They'll care," she said. "They just won't say anything to my face." Beau looked at Thomas, who said nothing. For once the mayor seemed stunned. Good. Annabeth rose from her chair, dusted her skirts, and gave a tight, satisfied smile. "Now, if you'll excuse me," she said, "I need to pick out a dress for the market tomorrow. Luke's meeting me there." And with that, she left the room. Behind her, silence bloomed like gunpowder. And this morning, it was smoke in the air, thin, cloying, and everywhere. Annabeth stepped into Whitmoor's Saturday market with her chin high and her fan swinging lightly from her wrist. The square bustled with wagons, shouting merchants, and women holding baskets like shields. But the moment she appeared, the current shifted. Heads turned, conversations bent. People made space, not out of respect, but out of fear they'd be caught staring. Let them stare. She wore pale blue today, modest but crisp, and her hair pinned with deliberate carelessness. Enough to imply she hadn't tried too hard. Enough to say, "Yes, I'm the girl who kissed a ranch hand, and I did it in pearls." Rosa trailed 2 paces behind her with a cloth bag and a forced smile. "Miss, everyone's looking." "Good," Annabeth replied. "They'll miss less that way." She passed Mrs. Liddell and her brood of half-sickly sons. The woman offered a brittle smile. "Out alone this morning, dear?" she asked. "Not at all," Annabeth said. "He's just fashionably late." As if summoned, though not nearly fashionably enough, Luke appeared across the square. He walked like someone raised in motion, boots solid, steps even, eyes scanning the crowd like he expected a brawl to break out. He'd shaved mostly. His shirt was clean, but still too loose. He wore a black hat low over his brow and carried tension in his shoulders like a man preparing for either gunfire or embarrassment. Annabeth's stomach turned, not from nerves, from the realization. He looks like he doesn't want to be here. He reached her side, said nothing at first, just nodded. "You're late," she murmured, slipping her arm through his. "I got lost in the fun of bathing." She smirked, then leaned in slightly. "Say something charming." He glanced at her. "You look like trouble." "Better," she said, "but we'll work on it." They started walking. The crowd parted slowly. The town watched them move through the square like the entertainment they never paid for. Children were shushed. Men blinked. Women whispered behind fans or pretended to compare peaches. No one spoke to them directly, except one. "Miss Wilde," called a voice from behind a display of hand-stitched bonnets. What a pleasant surprise! Annabeth turned with the grace of a practised blade. "Mrs. Carver, you're radiant." The older woman beamed. "And your fiancé?" Her eyes raked Luke like he was livestock up for auction. "You didn't say he was so tall?" Luke gave her a single nod. "Ma'am?" Mrs. Carver blinked. "And where did you say you were from, Mr.?" "Don't say anything," Annabeth whispered through her teeth, smiling as she spoke. "She'll write it down and make it law." Luke looked at her, then back at Mrs. Carver. "South of here." "Oh," Mrs. Carver said, disappointed by his lack of narrative. Annabeth squeezed his arm lightly. "We must keep moving. Things to buy, kisses to regret." As they walked off, Luke muttered, "Is this what hell feels like?" "No," she said. "Hell is warmer and doesn't smell like pickled onions." They passed stalls, ignored the stairs, and moved as one, an illusion of intimacy. But beneath her steady poise and his guarded silence, a pressure was building. Something was going to crack. Just not yet. Annabeth led Luke toward a shaded corner of the square where Mr. Ellery's cafe offered tepid lemonade and better-than-average biscuits. She chose a table close to the edge where they could be seen but not heard. Perception, not participation. Luke sat across from her, stiff as fence wire. He scanned the street, the rooftops, the people. Never her. "You look like you're waiting for a pistol to go off," she said, unfurling her napkin. "I might be," he muttered. She arched a brow. "You're supposed to be in love with me. Try acting like it." "I don't know how." She tilted her head. "Try starting with less glaring." He adjusted in his chair, then froze again. "Look," she said, lowering her voice, "no one expects a soliloquy. Just a little warmth. Pretend I'm a mare you're not trying to break." His eyes finally met hers, and something flickered. Dry amusement, maybe. "You talk to horses like this?" "No," she said. "They usually respond better." The waiter arrived, set down 2 sweating glasses of lemonade, and hurried off with a sideways glance. Annabeth took a slow sip. Luke just stared at his glass like it might be laced with arsenic. "I don't do this," he said finally. "Drink. Talk." "Charming," she said. "But since we're publicly in love, you'll need to learn." He frowned. "Why me?" She set down her glass and leaned forward slightly. "Because you didn't ask for anything. Because you didn't try to impress me. Because when I kissed you, You didn't pretend it was something else." He shifted in his seat. "And," she added, softer now, "because I needed someone no one could control, including me." A silence stretched between them, not hostile, not quite comfortable. Then, "Did you really mean it?" he asked. "The kiss?" "No," he said, "what you said to your father, about not being bought." She blinked, then smiled, small and sincere. "That part wasn't a lie." Luke looked down at his lemonade, finally picked it up, took a sip, winced. "Too much lemon," she smirked. "Now that sounded real." A beat passed. Then a young voice called out, "Hey, I know you!" They both turned. A boy, maybe 8, freckled, barefoot, stood by the table staring at Luke. Luke stiffened. The boy's brow furrowed. "I seen you before, at that place, with the big metal, thing." "What place?" Annabeth asked gently. The boy scratched his head. "It was a long time ago. You had blood on your shirt." Luke's jaw tightened. Before Annabeth could say anything, the boy's mother appeared, grabbed him by the arm, and dragged him off with a mumbled apology and a sharp look. Luke stared after them, silent. Annabeth sat back slowly. "That means something to you?" she asked. "No," he said. She didn't believe him, but halfway across town, a man who made it his business to know lies from truth stepped off the southbound train with a suitcase in one hand and a pistol in the other. Mr. Calder wore black, not the fashionable kind, but the kind that didn't reflect light. His hat was narrow-brimmed, his boots soundless, his coat longer than the heat should allow. His face was forgettable if you only looked once. But no one ever did. Beau Larimore stood waiting under the awning of the telegraph office, dabbing sweat from his forehead with a monogrammed handkerchief. He tried to look casual. He failed. Calder didn't slow. He walked straight past the wagons and crates, stopped inches from Beau and said, "You have something for me?" Beau reached into his coat and pulled out a folded photo. It was grainy, clearly copied from an old oil registry, but the face was unmistakable. Darker hair then, no beard, but the same eyes, same jaw, same silence. "Name's Luke," Beau said. "Some drifter. Showed up in town a few months back. Courting the mayor's daughter now, apparently. We want to know where he's from." Calder took the photo. Didn't speak for a long moment. Then he smiled, a thin reptilian thing. "Oh," he said, tucking the image away. "I know this man." Beau's brows rose. "You do?" Calder nodded once. "But his name's not Luke." Beau's mouth went dry. "Then who is he?" Calder adjusted his cuffs. "Depends on who's asking, but if it's me answering, he's Colton Luke Callahan." He said the name like a pistol shot. Beau froze. "Callahan's boy?" he whispered. "The oil family?" Calder gave him a long, unreadable look. "The dead one?" Beau asked, louder now. Calder shook his head slowly. "Not dead, just quieter than he used to be." And if Luke Callahan was anything, he was quiet now, especially as he walked beside Annabeth along the dusty lane that led back to the mayor's house. The sun was low behind them. Their shadows stretched long over the dirt, 2 perfect silhouettes of a couple in love. Neither spoke. The silence, brittle as dried bone, finally cracked when Annabeth said, "You didn't say a single kind thing to me all day." Luke didn't stop walking. "That wasn't part of the deal." "Neither was scowling like I'd kidnapped you." "I didn't ask for this." She stopped. "Neither did I." He turned, slow and deliberate. "You started it." "I had to do something," she snapped. "The vultures were circling. You were the only man in that entire godforsaken ball who wasn't staring at me like I was for sale." His jaw worked. You used me." "Yes," she said, "and you said yes." "I didn't say yes to being gawked at like a prize hog." "You're not a hog," she said. "You're a story, and the town is starving for one." He stepped closer. "You like being the center of attention, don't you?" She met his gaze. "I like surviving in the only way women are allowed." He blinked. "Do you know what happens to girls like me when they're quiet?" she continued. "They vanish. They get married off and forgotten. So yes, I play the part. I dance, I smile, I lie through my teeth, but I know what I'm doing." He studied her then, like really studied her, for the first time since she dragged him into this mess. "What are you doing exactly?" he asked. She looked away. When she didn't answer, he stepped back. "I'm not the man you think I am." "I don't think you're a man at all," she said, too sharp. "You're just a locked door with a pair of boots on." That hit something. He turned, started walking. "Where are you going?" "Back to my job." "You mean your hole in the ground? Better than your ballroom full of liars." She crossed her arms. "You're so afraid of being known. You've convinced yourself isolation is noble." He didn't answer. He didn't look back. She watched him go until the dust swallowed his shadow. For a second, she felt something she couldn't name, and hated that it wasn't anger. Luke didn't stop walking until the town lights were no more than a shimmer behind him, and the only sound was his boots against dry gravel. The stars came out sharp and cruel, too many, too clear. He hated skies like this. They made him feel seen. The bunkhouse was still half a mile off, but he didn't rush. His hands stayed low near his belt. His ears tuned themselves to everything: rustling grass, creaking trees, the occasional skitter of a jackrabbit. But tonight, the quiet had a weight to it, a pattern. He passed the McKenna barn, its doors shut, the lantern inside long since out. But something told him not to look at the barn, like the barn was looking at him. He didn't flinch, didn't pause, just walked a little slower. Let the air catch up. He stopped near the trough, leaned down, splashed water on his face. Then, with his head still bowed, he said softly, "You planning on shooting me from behind? Or do I get the chance to ask your name?" Silence. Then a match struck, flared, lit a face, smooth and smiling. The man stood just beyond the shadows, wearing a coat too fine for a cattle town and gloves too clean to work in. In his hand he held a photo. The paper singed at the corner as he let the flame curl into it. "Colton Luke Callahan," he said, voice low and certain. "Imagine finding you out here, of all places." Luke didn't move. "Don't worry," the man continued, letting the ashes fall. "I don't work fast. I like to watch the cracks form first." Then he tipped his hat, turned, and disappeared into the dark. Luke stood there a long time. The water still dripped from his fingers, and in the distance, coyotes began to howl. Before dawn, he was already awake. The bunkhouse was silent, the other hands snoring in their cots or muttering in sleep. Luke moved like smoke, quiet, practiced. He stuffed what little he owned into a worn canvas roll, a change of shirts, a tin of tobacco, the ring he hadn't worn in 4 years, and a knife older than sin. No boots yet, not until the porch. He slipped out barefoot, saddle slung over one shoulder, hat low. The air was cold and blue, the kind of morning that felt like a secret. He tucked a folded scrap of paper beneath a horseshoe nailed to the doorframe. No name, no signature, just a single sentence, scribbled in sharp handwriting. "Not safe to stay. Tell no one where I went." He'd make for the canyon line, cross through to the old mine road. From there, east. Always east. Keep moving. That was the rule. He didn't see Rosa galloping into the yard until she was nearly on him. "Mr. Callahan," she shouted, then caught herself. "Sorry, Mr. Luke. Miss Wilde sent me. She said. He dropped the saddle. "What?" "She said if you ran before she had her say, she'd shoot out your horse's knee." He stared at her. "She's coming," Rosa added breathlessly. "Right behind me. I tried to stop her. You best decide if you're running or listening." Luke turned toward the east trail. He didn't move. Then hooves thundered over the hill. Annabeth, hair undone, cheeks flushed, still in a dressing robe tied over riding trousers. Her mare was lathered from the sprint. She pulled up hard, dust flying, and stared down at him like judgment in silk trim. "You were leaving." He didn't answer. "You weren't even going to tell me." Still silent, she dismounted and strode toward him, boots crunching. "You think this whole town is dangerous for you? That you're the only one with a target on your back?" "I didn't ask for this," he said low. "Neither did I." "You chose it." She jabbed a finger at his chest. "You chose it too. You said yes. You walked into town with me, sat beside me, played the part. Because you offered money. Then I should have paid you more to stay." He flinched like she'd slapped him. She saw it, saw the crack form, and pressed. "What happened to you?" she asked. "What are you running from?" He said nothing. She stepped closer. "I found something." His eyes flicked to her satchel. "What?" "You left it in your bag. The ring." That stopped him. "You're not some ranch hand. Not really," she said. "You carry yourself like someone used to being heard." Luke's hand tightened around his saddle strap. "What's the crest mean?" she asked. "Who were you, Luke?" He didn't answer. "Tell me," she said, and his voice came out low and ragged. "It doesn't matter." "It does to me." He looked at her then, really looked, and for a moment he almost told her. His mouth opened. Then he turned away. "I can't," he said. "You won't." "That too." The silence burned. Finally, she said, "Quiet now. You leave before I get the truth, and you'll never see me again, not even in passing." His jaw flexed. She waited. No answer. Then, slowly, she climbed back into her saddle. No ceremony, no anger, just a decision. She turned the horse around and rode away. Luke stood there a long time before he picked up the saddle again. But he didn't move toward the canyon. Not yet. Annabeth, meanwhile, was already tearing through his saddlebags like a woman possessed. She tied her mare at the fence post, stormed into the McKenna tack room, and dumped the contents of Luke's gear across the workbench in a flurry of leather and dust. Rosa had tried to follow her. One look shut the girl up. The ring had weight, not just metal, history, etched with a coiled serpent and a crown of flame. No Western rancher wore something like this. It reeked of old oil money, of Eastern boarding schools and legacy coffins. Annabeth turned it over and over in her palm. Callahan. She didn't know why the name caught in her throat, but it did. The door swung open behind her. She didn't turn. "You came back." Luke's voice was low. "I forgot something." She held the ring up between two fingers. "This?" Silence. "You should have thrown it in a river," she said. "I almost did." "You're not poor." "No." "You're not stupid." "Sometimes." She turned slowly to face him. "Then what are you?" He looked tired, dusty, his shirt unbuttoned at the throat, revealing a sliver of scar that disappeared beneath the fabric. His eyes were darker now, less like storms, more like the silence after one. I was a name, he said. Then the name got me killed, so now I'm not. That's not an answer. It's all I've got. She stepped closer. You lied. No, I avoided. Same thing. No, it's not. He stepped toward her too. Lying is telling someone what they want to hear. Avoiding is keeping quiet because you know they wouldn't believe the truth. Try me. He exhaled. I used to be someone with more money than sense, a family name with oil beneath it. Then something happened, something I didn't cause, but I couldn't fix it either. What happened? He looked away. Luke. I buried a brother, he said, and part of myself with him. The room stilled. Annabeth's throat tightened. She didn't know what she'd expected. Infidelity? A fake marriage? A theft? Not this. He looked back at her, and for once, he wasn't hiding. I'm not who you think I am, he said again. She stepped forward until only inches remained. No, she said softly. You're more. He didn't kiss her right away. He stood there for a second longer, searching her face like it might change into something else if he looked too long. Then he leaned in, slow and certain. His mouth found hers, warm, real, without pretense or pressure. She didn't move at first. Then her hands were at his chest, his shirt, his throat, and for a moment everything they weren't saying fell away. Then he pulled back, fast, like it burned him. She blinked. Why? I can't, he whispered. Not if I'm leaving. You're not. I have to. Then why kiss me? He didn't answer. He turned and walked out the door. This time he took the ring with him, and as Luke walked out into the wind, a storm was already brewing in the heart of Whitmoor, inside Mayor Thomas Wilde's study, where the curtains were drawn and the decanter half drained. Mr. Calder didn't sit. He preferred to move, gliding across the carpet like a vulture that had learned how to pace. Beau lounged in a leather chair by the fireplace, one boot up, sipping from a glass like he'd earned it. Thomas stood behind his desk, hands braced on the edge, staring at the yellowed photo Calder had just placed in front of him. The image was blurred, clearly copied from an old society page, but the face was unmistakable. The Callahan air, younger, cleaner, but the same eyes. Thomas spoke first. You're sure? Calder smiled, slow and sure. Colton Luke Callahan, heir to Callahan Oil, last seen alive 4 years ago after the accident that killed his older brother. Beau leaned in. The one where he ran? Calder gave a nod. Framed, most likely. Witnesses recanted. Records were scrubbed, but someone powerful wanted him gone. Thomas picked up the photo. I met his father once. Big man. Old money. Could drink a horse under the table. Calder stepped closer. Did you know Colton? Thomas didn't answer right away. Beau caught the hesitation. You knew? Thomas exhaled slowly. I knew a boy at the stock auction years ago. Quiet, sharp, carried a silver flask and never spoke out of turn. Thought he was just another legacy brat. He wasn't, Calder said. He was the next in line. Then the older brother died in a fire under unusual circumstances. Arson? Explosion? Oil field? Beau's eyes lit up. You think he did it? I think someone made it look like he did. Calder stepped closer to Thomas. Question is, who stood to gain from it? Thomas stiffened. Not me. No? Calder smiled. Because someone with access had to help bury the papers, seal the death report, transfer the funds. That's absurd. Beau looked between them, brows rising. Wait, are you saying the mayor helped fake his death? No, Calder said, calm. I'm saying someone in this town wanted him gone and had help. Maybe it was you. Maybe it was someone sitting across from you. Either way, he's back now, and breathing makes him a liability. Thomas moved behind his desk, face hardening. So what are you proposing? I'm not proposing, Calder said. I'm acting. Bo sat forward. You said you didn't work fast. Calder tilted his head. I said I don't pull the trigger fast, but I move as soon as the safety's off. And it's off now? Thomas asked. Calder nodded once. The second he kissed your daughter. The room went still. Thomas's knuckles whitened on the glass in his hand. I'll handle it, Calder said. Quietly. No bodies in the street. What do you want in return? Thomas asked. Calder's smile sharpened. A name, he said. The one who paid me 4 years ago. The one who made the Callahan boy disappear the first time. Thomas didn't speak. Bo shifted. Calder watched them both. I can disappear him again, he said, stepping toward the door. But if you want him gone forever, you'll need to decide who else dies with him. Luke didn't hear the threat, but he felt it. All day the town's silence had sounded louder. Children stopped playing when he walked past. The saloon keeper didn't meet his eyes. Even the horses seemed twitchier. The air had gone brittle, tense, like a storm deciding which direction to break. By sunset, he was on foot, pack slung over his shoulder, heading toward the East Ridge, an old canyon overlook where no one ever went except when they wanted to disappear. Again. He hadn't left a note this time, not even a lie. He didn't bother saddling up, just walked. He needed the silence, needed the wind, needed to say goodbye to himself in his own way. He didn't expect to find her there. Annabeth stood on the ridge's edge, arms crossed, hair loose, looking like a ghost waiting to haunt him. You're predictable, she said before he could speak. He froze a few paces away. I didn't follow you. No, she said. I followed you. He sighed. You're not very good at leaving, she added. I've had practice. Then you're bad at practice. They stared at each other. The canyon below them stretched wide and black, the kind of space that swallows voices and men alike. I came to think, he said, voice quiet. That's what cowards call it. He bristled. You don't know me. She stepped closer. Then tell me who you are. He didn't answer. You want to run, she said. Fine, that's easy, it's safe. But here's the part that should scare you. You don't want to. His jaw clenched. She stepped even closer. You're not afraid of being hunted. You're afraid of being wanted. You're afraid of being someone again. I can't be who I was. I don't want who you were, she said. I want the man who held a gun like it was made of glass, who danced with me through a lie so well the whole town believed it. He looked at her, raw, angry, torn open. I'm not safe. I'm not asking for safe. I'm a dead man with a borrowed name. She touched his chest, light, deliberate. Then be Luke, she said, but stay. He closed his eyes, just for a second, then opened them again, breath unsteady. I want to, he said, but I don't know how to stop running. Let me teach you. The wind caught her hair. The last of the light spilled across the canyon. He didn't answer. Not yet. But he didn't leave either. That's what she told herself the whole ride back. The night wind tugged at her sleeves, her jaw set like stone, her fingers white around the reins. He hadn't left. Not yet. When she arrived at the mayor's house, Rosa was waiting at the door, flustered. You had a visitor, the maid whispered. Didn't come inside. Said he'd leave it in your room. Who? Rosa shrugged. The quiet one, with the shadows in his voice. Annabeth's heart sank before she even crossed the threshold. She moved up the stairs, slow at first, then faster. Her bedroom was untouched, almost. The oil lamp burned low. A book sat on her desk, one she hadn't read in months. Leaves of Grass. She opened it, and a piece of folded paper slipped free, floating to the floor like a feather with too much weight. She stared at it for a moment before kneeling to pick it up. The handwriting was unmistakable, sharp, slanted, impatient. There was no greeting, no sign-off, just words. I don't know how to stay still. Every time I do, something breaks. I think I wanted to stay. I think you made me want that. But if I stay, someone dies. If I leave, only I do. That's the best I know how to give you. L. Annabeth stared at the paper until the ink blurred, not from tears, from fury. She crumpled it in her fist, stood, and turned back toward the door. He thought he could leave again, just vanish into the dirt like some ghost. But he'd forgotten one thing. She knew how he ran now, and this time she wouldn't follow. She'd find him. But Luke was already half a day ahead. He rode light, no bedroll, no lantern, just a saddlebag with a flask, a knife, and the ring now looped onto a leather cord around his neck. He didn't follow trails. Trails could be followed back. Instead, he cut through thorn brush, down dry creek beds, and across hard limestone that held no tracks. He kept to shade, left no fire, and only let the mare drink in running water. The hills here had no names, no signs, just wind and stone, and the kind of silence that could fold a man inside himself if he wasn't careful. He rode until the sun tipped past the ridge, then stopped in a narrow canyon where the rock walls swallowed echoes and the sky was a line of fire overhead. He tied the horse loosely beneath an overhang and sank down beside a crooked mesquite. For a moment there was peace. Then the memory came. It never knocked, just slammed the door open. The fire, the screaming, the pop and crack of oil drums bursting, his brother's voice. Run! Luke's boots slipping in mud and flame, the men, the shadows, one of them turning to look, a face, familiar, watching him walk away. Luke's eyes snapped open. The canyon was quiet, too quiet. He stood slowly, listened. No hoofbeats, no voices, but the air had changed, like something was breathing it beside him. He walked the ridge above the canyon. No tracks, no smoke, but something was off. A twig snapped, not near, but not far. Luke dropped to one knee behind a boulder, hand on the knife. He waited. Nothing. Eventually he moved again, slower now, watching the sky. Just before dusk, he caught the faintest hint of something wrong. A print in the shale, too deep for a deer, a human boot. And beside it, ash, still warm. Someone was following him. Luke didn't curse, didn't run. He just went quiet again. This wasn't the first time someone hunted him, but it might be the first time they caught up. Annabeth kicked her mare hard over the last rise of red-dusted earth, and spotted the sagging roofline of Theo Vance's ranch like a bone half buried in the prairie. The gate hung off one hinge. A goat stood on the porch like it owned the place. Aunt Theo sat in a rocking chair with a glass of what was probably whiskey and definitely not tea, one bare foot up on a barrel, rifle across her lap, and a cigarette clamped between her teeth. She didn't look up as Annabeth rode in. "Didn't expect you till morning," Theo said, polishing the barrel with a rag older than either of them. "I couldn't sleep." "You never could when you were hiding something." Annabeth dismounted, still windburned, still furious. "I'm not hiding anything." Theo looked up at her for the first time. "You're hiding the fact that you've been kissed by a man who's not on your father's payroll. chased him through town, lost him, and now come to me with that wild animal look in your eye, like you're about to declare a war and need someone to bless it." Annabeth blinked. Theo spat into the dirt and cocked her head. "Did I miss a step?" "I need to learn to track," Annabeth said. Theo set the rifle down. "And here I thought you came to braid hair." "I'm serious." "You're always serious. It's why you were such a boring child." Annabeth stepped forward. "He's out there. And he's not just hiding. He's being hunted." "So he told you?" "No, he left me a letter." Theo raised her brows. "Even worse." "I have to find him." "Or what? The town implodes?" "No," Annabeth said. "I do." That caught Theo. Just a flicker in the eyes. A small silence. Then she nodded once, slow and sharp. "All right," she said. "But I've got conditions." "Name them." "No crying, no questions, no running back to Papa the second it gets hard." "Agreed. And when you shoot," Theo said, lifting the rifle again, "you don't hesitate. Hesitating gets girls like you hurt." "I don't intend to shoot anyone," Annabeth said. Theo stood, rifle in one hand, cigarette in the other. "Then you don't intend to win," Theo said. So now Annabeth rode with the sun in her face, dust in her throat, and a rifle slung behind her like a promise she didn't know how to keep. The terrain was harsher out here. Less cattle range, more scrub and shale. Every tree twisted like it had grown angry. Theo led the way, reins loose in one hand, her long grey braid swinging behind her like a rope that had been used to drag men behind horses. "You smell that?" Theo asked without turning around. Annabeth blinked. "What?" "Cold fire, burnt cedar, less than a day old." Annabeth wrinkled her nose, and there it was. Smoke long gone, but still hanging in the ground like a ghost. Theo dismounted. "We're close." They moved slow now, weaving through thornbrush, bootsteps measured. Theo knelt near a rock outcrop, ran her hand over a patch of churned-up dust. "2 sets of prints," she said. "One walking light, like he's trying not to leave a mark." "Luke," Theo pointed to the second. "And one heavy. Man's chasing, not travelling." "How can you tell?" "Because he's not watching the ground. He's cutting corners, fast, like he wants to catch, not survive." They moved on. An hour passed in silence, the kind that says what words can't. At a narrow stream bed, Annabeth crouched and pointed. "Here!" Theo stepped beside her, saw it instantly. The shell casing was brass, unfired, still warm from sunlight. "Wasn't a warning shot," Theo murmured. "It was dropped." "By who?" Theo turned, scanned the horizon. "The one who wants your boy quiet." Annabeth felt something cold move up her spine. "You're sure?" Theo nodded. "Hunters don't always shoot. Sometimes they scare, corner, wait." Annabeth stood, fists clenched. "Then we don't wait." Theo didn't smile, but she didn't stop her either. They mounted again, and this time they rode faster. But Mr. Calder didn't need to. He had time. The kind of time that moved like oil, slow, heavy, inevitable. He arrived at the Crooked Tooth trading post just before dusk, his rented gelding dust-covered and nervous. The post was little more than a leaning shack built into the base of a rock slope, run by a wiry man named Silas, who didn't ask questions unless there was coin attached. Calder handed him a silver dollar, then another, then unfolded a paper badge and tapped it on the counter. "Looking for someone." Silas eyed the badge, then the man. "Looks official." "It is." "What's he done?" "Dangerous," Calder said. "Wanted in 3 territories." Silas scratched his jaw. "Looks like what?" Calder pulled out a copy of the photo. Younger, cleaner, but Luke's face all the same. "Name?" Silas asked. Calder smiled. "Doesn't matter." He bought a map, spread it on the counter. "Which way'd he go?" Silas pointed north. "Took water and jerky 2 nights back. Said he was cutting through Devil's Elbow." Calder circled it in charcoal. The canyon narrowed there, deep crevices, only one real exit. "Anything else?" Calder asked. Silas hesitated. Calder dropped another coin. "Think hard." Silas cleared his throat. He was looking over his shoulder, like someone was already behind him. Calder's smile didn't reach his eyes. They always are. He rolled the map, pocketed the photo, and tipped his hat. Then he walked outside, climbed onto the gelding, and rode west. No rush, just time, and the scent of blood getting closer. Annabeth felt it in her chest, like static building in the ribs. By the time they made camp, the sky was bleeding red across the horizon, and the only sounds were a crackling fire, a cooling kettle, and the click of a rifle bolt being slid into place. Theo handed it over without ceremony. "Hands like this," she said, folding Annabeth's fingers along the stock. "Not too tight. Guns don't like to be strangled." Annabeth adjusted. The weight of it settled across her arms like a second spine. Theo stepped back, gesturing toward a tin can perched on a stone 50 feet away. "Breathe! Don't blink!" Annabeth pulled the trigger. The shot rang sharp through the canyon. A cloud of dust spat up behind the stone. "High and right," Theo said. "Again!" Second shot. Closer. By the fourth, the can spun off the rock. Annabeth lowered the rifle, stunned. Not at the hit, at the feeling in her hands, her arms, her chest. She liked it. She hated that she liked it. Theo poured 2 fingers of whiskey into a tin cup and handed it to her. "I should have come to you sooner," Annabeth said. "No," Theo replied. "You came when you meant it." The fire crackled between them. Annabeth stared into it. "I'm not just chasing him," she said. "I'm chasing what I was with him, what I could be." Theo took a slow sip. "I was you once," she said. "Years back. Different man. Same pull." "What happened?" "I found him. And I found out I was better off not loving someone who needed saving more than he needed me." Annabeth's voice went quiet. "But what if I need him?" "Then be damn sure you don't lose yourself getting him." A silence settled, thick and hard. Then Theo stood, eyes on the north ridge. Smoke, faint but real. No fire near, no home, no ranch. Annabeth was on her feet before she realized it, the rifle still warm in her hands. Theo didn't stop her, didn't even speak, just nodded once. And Annabeth mounted up and rode toward the smoke, toward the man, toward the trouble, toward whatever came next. Annabeth had no plan, just speed. The hills bled shadows as the sun dipped behind them. Every hoofbeat kicked a memory loose. His eyes, his silence, his mouth on hers, and then gone. She followed the smoke like it owed her something. By the time she reached the ridge above the canyon, dusk had drained all the color from the world. The last of the smoke hung low and grey, curling around the jagged stone like a thing that didn't want to be seen. She tethered the horse to a creosote bush and crept down the slope, rifle in hand. The camp was half hidden in a natural hollow below. A small fire burned low, almost dead. A canteen, 2 bedrolls, a coffee pot still steaming. 2 men. One seated on a rock, back to her, legs crossed like a banker, waiting for a late appointment. The other stood by the fire. Luke, she could tell by the way he held his shoulders, wound tight, not from fear, but from choice. He hadn't run. Not yet. She dropped to her belly behind a ledge, rifle braced, heart pounding like a fist. The other man spoke, low, smooth, like a man who'd rehearsed every line before walking on stage. "You didn't leave," he said. "That was your first mistake." Luke didn't answer. "You're good at hiding," the man continued. "I'll give you that, but even ghosts leave footprints." "Who sent you?" Luke asked. A pause. Then the man said, "Does it matter? You were always going to end up here. Fire's just catching up to the smoke." Annabeth eased her finger to the trigger. "Let me guess," the man added. "You think the girl's worth it. That's why you're not running. That's why you're standing there like some tragic bastard in a dime novel." Still, Luke said nothing, but Annabeth saw his hands, tight at his sides. Ready. The other man leaned forward into the firelight, and Annabeth saw his face for the first time. Not ugly, not angry, worse, certain. "I'm going to offer you a gift," the man said. "Lay down whatever's left of your name, and I'll make sure she lives." Annabeth's stomach turned. Her breath caught, and she braced herself to aim. Down below, Calder warmed his hands by the low-burning fire like a man who'd earned comfort after a long day's work. "You know what your brother's last words were," he said. Luke didn't move. He didn't scream, didn't cry, just looked at me and said, "He doesn't know." Calder chuckled. "Took me a while to figure out what that meant." Luke's voice came rough. "You were there?" "I was always there," Calder said, tossing a twig into the flame. "Just not where you were looking." Luke took a slow step forward. "You set the fire." "No," Calder smiled, "but I let it burn." The silence stretched. Then Calder stood. Slowly, hands still visible, unarmed for now. "You were supposed to die with him," he said. "And if you'd done that, half the bastards who paid me wouldn't be worried now." "I didn't ask to live," Luke said. "Didn't have to. The fire did you a favour." "What do you want?" "Your name." Luke blinked. Calder shrugged. "Give it up. Tell the girl to forget. I'll go back and tell them you died out here. Heroic, noble. Nobody else has to bleed." Luke took another step forward. "And if I don't?" Calder's smile never moved. "Then you make it ugly, and I bury her too." From her vantage point above, Annabeth's vision went red. Her grip shifted. Luke's voice didn't change, but something inside it cracked. "You're not walking out of here," he said. Calder raised his brows. "You gonna stop me?" Luke's hand inched toward his side. Calder mirrored him. 2 men, 2 weapons, 2 choices, and 1 breath between them. Annabeth didn't wait for it. She squeezed the trigger. The shot cracked through the canyon like thunder made of steel. Calder jerked sideways, coat whipping, firelight scattering. He didn't fall, but Luke moved. In 1 breath, he was across the camp, shoulder down, barreling into Calder before the man could draw. The 2 men crashed into the dirt, boots scraping, hands scrambling for leverage. Calder's pistol skittered into the firelight. Annabeth was already halfway down the slope, rifle in hand, dress hitched to her knees, sliding on loose stone. Her heart pounded like it might break through her ribs. Below, Calder landed a punch. Luke reeled. Blood slicked his lip. Calder drew a knife. Annabeth shouted. Luke turned just in time, caught Calder's wrist, twisted, forced the blade into the dirt. They rolled. The knife vanished. A shot rang out. Wild! Too loud! Calder's pistol fired into the dark. Annabeth didn't flinch. She aimed again. This time Calder saw her. She stepped into the firelight like judgment in borrowed boots, rifle steady, eyes burning. "Let him go," she said. Calder, bleeding from the temple, 1 hand up, the other twitching toward his boot, smiled with blood in his teeth. "Well," he rasped, "aren't you something?" Luke pushed to his feet, breath heaving. Annabeth didn't lower the gun. Calder's eyes flicked to the ravine beyond the camp, narrow, dark, full of loose rock and sharper choices. He made his. A flick of the wrist and a hidden blade spun toward her. Luke slapped it from the air. "Run!" he said. She hesitated. "Run!" They took off together, through the ravine, over the rocks, into the dark, where even echoes didn't follow. Behind them, Calder swore, then vanished into shadow. They ran until the wind stopped chasing them, until the gulch twisted into stone and the sky disappeared. Luke ducked under a narrow arch of limestone and pulled her with him, guiding her through a tight bend in the rock. The space opened into a small hollow, cool and dry, no bigger than a tool shed, with the ceiling low enough he had to crouch. "This is it," he said, breath ragged, no fire, no sound. Annabeth nodded, panting. Then she looked at him and saw the blood. "Damn it," she whispered. "I've had worse," he muttered, slumping against the wall. She knelt, tore at the hem of her dress until it gave, and pressed the fabric against the gash above his ribs. He flinched but didn't make a sound. "Clean through," she said. "Graze or luck?" "Depends who you ask." She kept pressure on the wound, watching his face. He wasn't looking at her. Not really. She leaned closer. "No more half-truths. I want the rest." His jaw clenched. "I earned it," she said. He nodded slowly, and finally he spoke. "My name is Colton Luke Callahan. My family built half the oil rigs in Texas. I was supposed to take over. I didn't want to." She said nothing. "I left, but not before my brother took me to a meeting out west. Said he had a deal that could free us both. New investors, private money. Said it would change everything." Luke swallowed. "It was a trap." Annabeth's brow furrowed. "Explosion," he said. "Not an accident. I saw someone walk away just before it blew. A man with a ring like your father's." Silence. "I don't know if Thomas sent him," Luke said, "but he knew something, or he knew someone who did." Annabeth pulled back, still holding the bloody cloth. "But you're sure?" "I'd bet my life on it," he said. "And I did." Annabeth stared at him, not in shock, but in revelation. "All this time," she whispered, "it wasn't just about survival. It was about coming back." Luke looked up, met her eyes. "I didn't know I was coming back here until I saw you." That broke something open between them, and for the first time since the lie began, there was nothing left between them but truth. The kind that couldn't be scrubbed away in the morning. The kind that sat heavy in the dark between two people who'd run out of other ways to lie. Rain tapped lightly on the stone above. Not enough to flood. Just enough to hush the rest of the world. Luke sat slouched against the cave wall, the pressure bandage darkening slowly. Annabeth stayed beside him, knees pulled up, rifle at her side like a sentinel who'd learned how to bleed. Neither of them spoke for a long time. Then she asked quietly, "What would you do if you stopped running?" Luke didn't answer right away. She looked over at him. "I mean it," she said. "Not just because someone caught you, not because you're tired, because you wanted to." He blinked once, then said, "I'd find a place that didn't know my name, build something, fix fences, sleep in a real bed." She tilted her head, just slightly. "Alone." He looked at her. "Wouldn't want to be." "Then don't." The words were soft, but she meant every one. Luke sat forward, wincing. "You don't know what comes next." "No," she said, "but I know what I want." He reached out, fingers brushing her hand. She didn't move. Then slowly she turned toward him, closing the space the way she had once before, but this time without the fire of desperation. This time It was something slower, deeper, chosen. His lips found hers again, rough, cracked, real. And this time, he didn't pull away. The cave held their breath. The rain whispered secrets to the stone. He pulled her into his arms, careful of his wound. She leaned into him, tired, trembling, burning from the inside out. Outside, the storm passed, but inside, something stayed. Not the lie, not the chase, just the feeling that, for once, they weren't running. Not from each other, not tonight. By dawn, the sky had turned from ink to silver. Luke and Annabeth picked their way out of the canyon shadows, the stones still slick from the night's rain, their horses slow and quiet beneath them. No one spoke for a while, not because there was nothing to say, because there was finally nothing pressing to say. What passed between them now wasn't silence, it was understanding. He led the way along the creek's edge, where the water ran fast and cold, then up through a ridge that overlooked the distant edge of Whitmoor. They stopped there, both of them. The town looked smaller from here, but heavier. Annabeth pulled her mare up beside him. "You sure?" Luke didn't answer immediately. "Because this time," she added, "we don't walk in pretending." "I know," he said. She turned to look at him. "You're not the only one with something to lose now." He met her eyes. "I won't run," he said. "Not again." She nodded, not like she was convinced, like she was ready. They rode down together, but the closer they got, the more Luke felt it in his bones. The town wasn't asleep. Shutters were half closed. Lights burned. Men stood on porches with their arms crossed, hats low, pretending not to watch. And when they reached the main street, the air smelled sour. Someone had salted the earth already. Annabeth leaned in. "Something's wrong." Luke nodded once. "Calder made it back." They passed the general store. A woman turned her back. A boy stared too long. The saloon door creaked open, then shut again. At the far end of the street, Beau Wilde stood beneath the mayor's porch, arms folded. He didn't wave, he didn't smirk. He just watched them ride past like he already knew how the story ended. Luke exhaled. "This is it," he said. Annabeth touched his arm. "No," she said, "we're it." And they rode on, so Annabeth didn't wait. She dismounted before the horse even stopped moving and marched up the mayor's porch like it wasn't her father's house, but a courtroom. Luke stayed at the edge of the yard, watching, waiting, knowing it wasn't his fight, but it was his war. The front door opened before she reached it. Rosa stood there, eyes wide. Annabeth just nodded. "Where is he?" "In his study," Rosa whispered. "He's been pacing since sunup." Annabeth walked in without asking. The mayor's house was quiet, but not calm. That strange kind of quiet that crackled underneath like thunder waiting to fall. She didn't knock. She opened the study door and walked straight through. Thomas Wilde stood behind his desk, sleeves rolled, whiskey glass untouched on the ledge beside him. He didn't look surprised. "Where is he?" asked. "Outside." Thomas's jaw tensed. "And you brought him here?" Annabeth stepped forward. "I brought me here." He narrowed his eyes. "You don't know what you're doing." "I know exactly what I'm doing," she snapped. "You're the one who's been doing things in the dark." He tried to speak. She cut him off. "I know who he is." Thomas stilled. "I know what Calder is. I know what Beau did. I know what you signed," she said. "And I'm not here to ask permission." Thomas crossed his arms. "Then what are you here for?" "The truth." He looked down, not ashamed, just calculating. "I want to hear you say it," she said. He exhaled through his nose. "I knew his brother." "More than that." Thomas looked up. "I saw your name," she added, "on a land contract tied to the rig that exploded, the one that killed him." "A beat!" Thomas sat slowly. "It wasn't supposed to go that way. So it was you." "No, but you knew." He didn't deny it. Annabeth stared at him. She wanted to scream. Break something, break him. But she kept her voice steady. "You let an innocent man burn." Thomas's voice was quiet. "I thought it would end with the fire." "And now?" He met her eyes. "Now it's out of my hands." "No," she said, "it never was." She turned and walked out without waiting for more. And for the first time in her life, Thomas Wilde didn't follow. But Luke did. By the time Annabeth stepped onto the porch, he was already heading toward the east side of town, where the grass turned patchy and the houses leaned like old men in bad weather. The brass plate on the door read, "Merlin P. Greaves, Esq., a lawyer older than the courthouse and twice as crooked." Luke knocked once. No answer. He knocked again. The door opened a few inches. A voice from inside rasped, "You don't look like trouble, but you smell like it." Luke didn't smile. "I need records, Callahan oil leases, the ones that crossed Whitmoor." "Too old." "I'll pay." A pause. Then the door creaked open. Merlin Greaves wore 2 different boots and a vest he hadn't buttoned right. His beard had gone wild, but his eyes were sharp. "You got a name?" he asked. Luke nodded. "Colton Luke Callahan." Merlin blinked once, then turned. "Come in." The office was a war zone of papers and pipe smoke, but Greaves knew where every ghost lived. He reached under a false drawer and pulled out a worn leather ledger, pages brittle, corners scorched. "Don't let your fingers fall through it," he said, laying it flat. Luke scanned. Oil rights, contracts, land transfers, then... There it was. Parcel 7B. Ridgeview Basin. Ownership shifted 6 months before the explosion. Signed by T. Wilde. And below that, a stamped emblem he hadn't seen in years. The crest of a Callahan Shell Company. One they used to bury risk. Luke's throat went dry. "You kept this all these years?" he asked. "Didn't know what it was," Greaves said. "Just knew it wasn't clean." Luke closed the book slowly. "Can I borrow it?" "You can burn it when you're done." He didn't. He tucked it under one arm, tipped his hat, and stepped back into the light. And this time, he didn't wonder if Thomas Wilde betrayed his family. He wondered how long he'd been waiting for someone to come back and call it by name. Someone always comes back. That's what Calder thought as he sat on the bench behind the inn, stitching his own leg by lantern light. Blood crusted down the side of his boot. His coat was torn. Pride worse than both. But he still had the paper, still had the pen, still had leverage. He tied off the thread with his teeth, stood and walked out to where Beau Wilde was waiting by the water trough, hat low, nerves high. "You didn't say it'd go like this," Beau muttered. "I didn't say much," Calder replied. 2 more men stepped out of the alley, local hands with empty pockets and weak convictions. "You said no blood," Beau added. "I said not his." Beau rubbed his jaw. "And if he won't sign?" Calder smiled like a man who'd read the end of the book. "He will." A creak behind them, the back door of the inn opening. Luke stepping out for air. Ledger still tucked under his arm. Calder didn't wait. He stepped out of shadow. Luke froze. "Evening," Calder said, voice smooth as honey gone rancid. Luke's eyes flicked to the alley, the roof, the glint of steel in the dark. "Not smart," he said. "Not about smart," Calder replied. "It's about finishing what someone else started." Beau moved in. "You should listen to him, Callahan." Luke didn't move. "You really want this, Beau? Right here, in front of everyone? No one's watching, Bo lied. Calder held up the paper. Confession, he said. You take the fall for the explosion, for the death. You clear your brother's name. They get closure. I get paid. You get to live. Luke's voice went flat. You think this ends with ink? Calder stepped closer. No, but I think it starts with it. Then he said softly, She dies if you don't. That's when Luke moved, slowly, carefully, handing over the ledger like surrender. But there was no surrender in his eyes, only calculation, and the sound of something behind Calder. Boots! Fast, angry, sharp like the crack of a gun. The boots hit the wood like thunder. Calder spun too late. Annabeth was already there, standing in the golden glow from the inn's back lantern, rifle aimed squarely at his chest. She wasn't out of breath. She wasn't afraid. She didn't even blink. Luke didn't say a word. Didn't need to. Annabeth spoke first. One shot, she said. You've got 1 second to walk away. Calder didn't move. Bo stood frozen behind him, caught between the truth and the paycheck. Drop the paper, she said. Calder flicked his eyes to Luke. You always let her do the talking. She's better at it, Luke said. Annabeth took a step forward. Bo backed up. I don't bluff, she said. Calder's smile cracked. You shoot me, the rest of them won't let you walk free. Try me. Bo dropped his pistol. The other 2 men faded into the dark like dust on wind. Calder shifted his stance. Too slow. Annabeth fired. The shot cracked through the yard. Calder screamed, dropped to one knee, clutching his thigh. The paper caught fire in the lantern flame. Luke stepped forward and kicked Calder's pistol into the dirt. Annabeth walked up beside him, lowered the rifle and said, Calm as morning. It's over. Voices stirred at the edges of the street. Porch lights flicked on. Doors cracked open. People saw. They saw her. They saw him. They saw what had always been true. These 2 didn't belong to anyone but each other now, and Whitmoor would have to reckon with that. Luke turned to her. She nodded, and they walked into the house without looking back. But Luke didn't walk through it. Instead, he sat on the porch as the sun rose, one boot flat on the step, the other bent beneath him. The inn creaked behind him. The town creaked in front. It wasn't quiet. Not really. It was the kind of stillness that made sound louder. Birds too sharp, wind too soft. A horse snorting 3 streets over like it could smell something new in the dust. No one said his name, but they all knew it now. Across the road, Mrs. Langston swept her porch twice as long as usual. Her broom never faced his direction. Mr. Callis tied up his cart and never looked up. Children didn't run past the inn anymore, but no one had tried to drag him out either. That counted for something. Behind him, the door opened. He didn't turn. Annabeth sat beside him, barefoot, no corset, no brooch, just a plain blue dress and her hair loose from its pins, like the fight had stripped her clean. Neither spoke. The air between them didn't ask for words. It was a word, one they both understood. They didn't win, but they weren't hiding. A soft clatter behind them. Rosa, stepping onto the porch with a folded piece of paper in her hand. She hesitated before holding it out. "From Miss Theo," she said. Annabeth opened it. 5 words. "Come now, bring the boy." Annabeth handed it to Luke. His lips curled faintly. "She always this subtle." "She once shot a man for calling her ma'am." He stood. Annabeth did too. And the people of Whitmoor watched as the 2 of them walked down the centre of the street, together, not sneaking, not begging, just walking. They walked straight into town, past the inn, past the mercantile, past every window that squinted like a suspicious eye, and straight into the church. The morning meeting was already underway, Deacon Harold reading from a long scroll about grain stores and fence ordinances. He stopped when the door opened. Luke stepped in first. Every neck in the pews turned like clockwork. Annabeth followed, chin high, eyes forward. She didn't wait for permission. She walked straight to the front, stepped onto the raised platform, and turned to face them all. "Good morning," she said. No one responded, not with words, just stares. Luke stood halfway down the aisle, just inside the doors, silent, still. "My name is Annabeth Wilde," she said, "and I know most of you think you know what happened here this week." She scanned the room. "I'm here to correct that." Harold shifted. "Miss Wilde, this isn't—" "I'm not asking," she said. "I'm telling." Murmurs. She raised her voice. "You've all heard his name by now." She nodded toward Luke. "Colton Luke Callahan." Gasps. A few whispers. One or two hands clutching pearls like they'd caught fire. "He didn't lie to hurt anyone. He ran to survive. After someone murdered his brother. After a deal was made in this town that ended in fire and death." Someone coughed. Another stood to leave. "Sit," she said without raising her voice. And they did. "Someone in this town helped bury that truth," she said. "Someone profited. And if you're not asking who, then maybe you already know." From the back pew, Thomas Wilde stood. He didn't interrupt. He just watched. "I know some of you don't care," Annabeth went on. "You think names matter more than deeds. You think money erases blood." She let that hang. "But I care, and I won't marry the man you want. I won't forget what was done, and I won't leave him behind." Luke hadn't moved, but he met her eyes then, just for a second. Harold cleared his throat. "Miss Wilde, if what you say is true—" "Then act like it," she said. Silence, the kind that didn't dare move. Annabeth stepped down. No applause, no shouts, just the slow weight of judgment shifting under the rafters. Luke opened the door for her. She didn't look back, and as they walked out into the daylight, for the first time, no one followed. So they followed the letter. A short ride out to Theo's ranch. Same goat on the porch. Same busted gate. Same woman with a rifle across her lap and a cigarette clenched between her teeth, like she was daring the day to argue. Theo didn't wave. She just tilted her chin toward the rocking chair beside her. Annabeth sat. Luke stood near the railing. Theo reached into her vest and pulled out a folded telegram, creased, yellowed, sealed with an oil company emblem neither of them recognized. "Found this in my brother's desk," Theo said. "Didn't mean much then. Does now." Annabeth took it, unfolded it, read it once, then again. Luke watched her face change, confusion to recognition, to something that almost looked like grief. "It's from Calder," she said, voice flat. 2 years ago." Theo nodded. "Sent to a private number in Whitmoor. No name, but there's a postmark, a return payment from Eric Wilde." Annabeth blinked. "No," she whispered. "Eric wouldn't—" Luke took the telegram gently from her hands. The handwriting was familiar. The numbers, too. It wasn't much, but it was enough. Calder didn't just arrive to collect on an old grudge. He was invited. And Eric, kind, quiet, cousin Eric, had the pen in his hand. Annabeth looked up at Theo. "Why would he—" "Same reason men always do," Theo muttered. "Money, power, or fear." Annabeth's eyes burned. "He's been sitting at our table this whole time." Luke stepped beside her. Theo leaned forward. "He still is." The words followed them all the way back to town. Neither spoke much, not on the ride, not through the gates, not up the inn stairs to the room above the kitchen where Luke had been sleeping since this all began. She opened the door. He walked in first, and she watched as he reached for his saddlebags. Not urgently, just methodically, packing. A clean shirt, a few coins, a folded piece of the ledger, the pistol from beneath the mattress. She didn't stop him. He didn't explain until... "I'm leaving tonight," Luke said, still not looking at her. She leaned against the doorframe. "Why?" "You saw what happened," he said. "The town won't forget. Calder's still breathing. Your father." "None of that's new," she cut in. Luke zipped the bag. "It's not just about them." "Then what is it?" He turned finally, and his voice, so often quiet, came rough. "It's you." She froze. "I can't stay here and watch them come for you because of me. I can't make you carry my blood on your name." She stepped forward. "You think you're protecting me." "I know I am." "No," she said. "You're protecting yourself from what it would mean if you stayed." He didn't argue. She looked down, then back at him. "If you leave, I won't stop you," she said. "But if you stay..." She swallowed. "We fight on the same side now." The words landed, soft, final. Luke looked at her like a man trying to remember what hope felt like. Then he sat down on the edge of the bed, hands on his knees, bag untouched, and didn't move. Not for an hour, maybe more. The lamp burned low, the bag stayed packed. Outside, the streets quieted like a dog licking its wounds. No one came knocking, not yet. Luke sat on the bed, coat in his lap, eyes on the floor like there might be a sign waiting in the wood grain. Then, footsteps. He didn't turn. The door opened without knocking. Annabeth stepped inside. She didn't look tired. She looked decided. She crossed the room and stood in front of him. No drama, no speech. She just held out the telegram. He looked up, took it, unfolded it again. "I read it 10 more times," she said. "It's real." He nodded. She sat beside him, close enough their knees touched. "Eric did this," she said. "Maybe not alone, maybe not the whole fire. But he brought Calder here. He greased it. He helped bury it." Luke stared at the paper. "Why?" he asked. She answered like she'd already cried about it. Hours ago, alone. Because some men would rather protect a family name than the people wearing it. She leaned back on her hands. Luke looked at her. Not her face, not her eyes. Her, all of her. Not the girl who kissed him in the street to escape a marriage. Not the one who chased him into outlaw country. The one sitting here now, knowing what he was, what he carried, and choosing to stay anyway. She reached across the bed, touched the saddlebag, and slid it toward the wall. "Don't leave," she said. "Not yet." Luke didn't answer. He just laid the telegram flat on the nightstand and left the bag where it was. The door stayed open behind her. The Wilde estate had never looked like a home. It looked like a courthouse trying to be a mansion. Whitewashed stone, too many windows, a fence that didn't keep anything out except humility. Luke stood at Annabeth's side as they approached the front steps. Eric was already waiting. He leaned on the porch rail with a glass of something dark in one hand, dressed in grey with a matching smirk. "Family reunion," he called. "You should have sent a card." Annabeth didn't smile. "Inside," she said. "Now!" Eric held up his glass. "Why so formal? We're all friends here." Luke stepped forward. "We're not friends." Eric's eyes slid to him, all smooth contempt. "That's right. You're the one with the new name and the old grudge." Annabeth pulled the telegram from her coat and tossed it onto a table near the door. Explain it, she said. Eric walked over, picked it up, barely glanced at it. Ah, he said. That. No shrugging this off. He looked at her for a long moment, then laughed, quiet and tired. You think that changes anything? The man's a wanted fugitive. I made a deal, a legal one, for the good of Whitmoor. You brought Calder here. Eric shrugged. I brought someone to fix a mess. Not my fault the mess shot back. Luke's hands curled at his sides. Eric noticed. Easy, Callahan, he said. You're not the only one who knows how to aim. Annabeth stepped between them. You signed the land deal, she said. You paid Calder. You helped cover the fire. And you, Eric said, his voice turning cold, are about to lose everything if you keep talking like that. Her jaw tensed. Eric leaned in, smiling now. Not friendly, not familial, hungry. You want to marry a corpse with a legacy? Fine, just don't drag the rest of us down with you. Luke took a single step forward, and Eric's smile broke. You'll have your say tonight, Annabeth said, turning to go. So will we. Eric called after her. I hope so, but just in case, he paused, raised his glass, and said with mock ceremony, To family. Annabeth didn't look back. She didn't have to. The echo of Eric's threat followed them all the way back to town, like a whisper trying too hard not to be heard. By noon, Rosa said people were already clearing benches in the church. By 2, word had changed. Town hall, dusk. No judges, no lawmen, just men with stakes and neighbours with ears. By 3, the mayor came knocking. Annabeth opened the door. Thomas Wilde stood on the porch, hat in hand, not a trace of bluster left. I came to ask you not to go, he said. She crossed her arms. He glanced over her shoulder. And him too. Luke stood behind her, ledger under one arm, silent. This doesn't have to be public, Thomas said. Annabeth didn't budge. You already made it public the day you let Eric buy a noose. Thomas's jaw twitched. You think it'll go well for you? He asked. No, she said. I think it'll go true. He looked at her a long time, then dropped his gaze, nodded once, and walked away. By sunset, Luke had shaved, straightened his collar, and opened the ledger to the exact page. The signature line, the date, the Wilde name. Annabeth stood in the mirror, fixing her braid when someone knocked. Not Rosa, not her father. It was Theo, a coat over her shoulders, a bulge beneath it. I came early, Theo said. Didn't want to miss the opening act. Annabeth smirked. You bring in the gospel? Theo lifted her coat just enough to show the sawed-off shotgun strapped to her side. Something louder! Luke opened the door behind them. Theo tipped her hat. You ready, son? Luke looked at them both, then down at the ledger in his hands, and nodded. And when they stepped into the town hall, it went quiet like a prayer before thunder. Every bench full, windows open, sweat on brows, no lawman at the front, just a podium, a table, and Eric Wilde already waiting beside it, smiling like he'd already rehearsed the ending. He nodded politely as they entered, even tipped his hat to Theo. Good to see you, Auntie. Theo didn't answer. He stepped up to the front, voice smooth and hands open like a preacher trying to save the damned. What happened years ago was a tragedy, he began, one that took the life of a young man, a Callahan, yes, but it wasn't murder. It was ambition that got ahead of itself, a land deal that turned south, a rig pushed too fast, that's all. He gestured wide, and now one man, his brother, wants someone to blame. A few murmurs of agreement. He let them rise, then looked to Luke. I don't fault him, but the past is past, and we've all paid our share. Luke didn't move. Annabeth did. She walked forward, calm, direct, and placed the telegram on the table. Eric looked down, pretended to read it for the first time. "Ah, this again," he sighed. Then Luke stepped forward. He opened the ledger, held it up for all to see. "This," he said, voice flat, "is the original sale document for the land that exploded. The same parcel that was supposed to be dormant, signed by Thomas Wilde, authorized by Eric." Gasps this time. One of the older ranchers leaned forward, squinting. Luke flipped to the next page. Names, dates. "Here's the money trail," Luke said. "Shell companies, offshore accounts, and one constant, Calder's name, buried beneath it all." Eric started laughing. "That ledger could have come from anywhere," he said. "Hell, he could have written it himself." That's when Theo stood. She pulled a folded piece of paper from her coat and laid it beside the telegram. "Then explain why my dead brother had this copy of the same document in his safe for 7 years, she said. Eric's smile died. Theo looked around the room. "And since we're naming names, how about the 3 who funded Calder's last contract?" She read them aloud. Every single one of them, from Whitmoor. Men in the room, men now shrinking. The room turned cold. Eric took a step back. Luke didn't follow. He just said, "Now tell them who really lit the fire." Eric didn't answer. He couldn't. Not with the room closing in. Not with every pair of eyes finally seeing past his grin. So instead, he lashed. "That ledger's a fake," he snapped. "A fancy little fiction written by a man who's been hiding behind someone else's name for years." Luke stood still. Eric pointed. "Colton Callahan died in that fire. This man, whoever he is a thief, a liar, a killer who ran from his own smoke." Murmurs surged. Luke looked to Annabeth, then stepped forward. 1 pace, 2. His voice stayed level. "I ran," he said, "because my brother was dead, because I was framed, because Calder was paid to make sure there were no witnesses." He paused. "I came back because someone in this town signed the check that paid for the fire, and now you've all seen it." Eric's hand twitched. Luke saw it, but didn't stop. "You think your name makes you safe," Luke said. "You think Wilde means untouchable, but it's just ink, same as mine." Eric snapped. He drew the pistol from under his coat, fast and low. Luke didn't move, but someone else did. Crack! The rifle report silenced the room. Annabeth stood at the back of the hall, rifle braced, eyes burning. The shot hit the floor 2 feet from Eric's boots, close enough to singe his courage. He froze. Theo stepped forward, coat swinging open to reveal the shotgun. "Try again, boy," she said. "Give me a reason." Eric looked at them all, then at the crowd, and saw no allies left. His hand dropped. The pistol clattered to the floor. And in the silence that followed, the townsfolk looked not at him, but at Luke, and didn't look away. Eric stood in the centre of the town hall, pistol at his feet, stripped of every ounce of charm, every layer of untouchability. His coat hung uneven. His voice had gone somewhere deeper than shame. No one moved until boots, steady, measured. Thomas Wilde walked down the aisle, his face unreadable, hands bare, hat in place. He didn't look at Annabeth, not yet. He stepped past Eric, stood between him and the crowd, and for a moment the town held its breath, like it expected the old lion to defend the last of his pride. But he didn't. He spoke. "My name is Thomas Wilde," he said, "and I've been a coward." Gasps rippled like wind across wheat. Eric turned, eyes wide. Thomas didn't look at him. "My brother and I helped build this town," he continued. "We laid rail. We bought land. We thought we were building something that would outlive our mistakes." He looked at the crowd. "But then the mistakes started owning us." A pause. "I knew about the fire. I didn't cause it, but I knew it wasn't clean. I let it stay buried because it was easier than losing my name." His voice cracked. "But it was never mine to keep." He turned to Luke. "To Colton Callahan," he said clearly, "I offer no defence, only the truth. I failed your family, and I'm sorry." Silence, until someone stood, Mrs. Langston, then the grocer, then a rancher from the east side, one by one. They didn't cheer, they just stood. And Luke saw it. Not approval, recognition, not of who he was pretending to be, but who he was finally allowed to be. Annabeth stepped beside him. Luke looked at her and whispered, "Now we can leave, if we still want to." She didn't answer, but her fingers found his and didn't let go. He didn't leave with a fight. Eric Wilde slipped out just before dawn. No bags, no goodbye, just the sound of hooves and a coat flapping in wind that didn't care who wore it. No one followed. No one stopped him. By midday, the mayor's office sat empty. The door left open. A letter on the desk in Thomas Wilde's hand. It didn't ask forgiveness. It didn't explain. It simply read, "There is a cost to silence. I'm done paying it. T.W." Theo found Luke behind the inn, splitting fence rails. She didn't say hello, just held out an envelope with a crooked stamp and a government seal. He wiped his hands and opened it. One sheet. One sentence. "The bounty on Colton Luke Callahan is hereby withdrawn. Official exoneration granted." He folded it carefully, as if even good news might tear. Whitmoor didn't cheer. It didn't spit either. The grocer kept selling. The children kept riding. The inn had guests again, and Rosa made 2 pies instead of 1. No one said the town had changed, but it had begun to breathe again. Just a little. It was late afternoon when they saddled up. No rush, no destination, just a direction. West, toward the edge of town, where the grass rose into ridgeback hills, and the sun slid low like it was tired from watching everything. They didn't talk much. Their horses knew the way. It was the same trail from that first day, when she kissed him without asking, and he let her because it was easier than breaking the lie. Now there was no lie, just the wind and the dust and the weight of choice ahead. At the top of the ridge, they dismounted. The grass bent beneath their boots. Whitmoor spread out below them, small, worn, stubborn, a town like so many others. Annabeth folded her arms across the saddle. "Never looks as big from up here." Luke nodded. "It's not," he said, "but it's loud." She smiled faintly. "You want quiet?" "I want peace." A beat. He looked at her, not like a man begging, but like one offering something he wasn't sure she'd take. "I've been thinking," he said. "We could leave, start over." "Where?" "Far." She waited. "But not running," he added. "Not this time, just clean. No Wildes, no Callahans, just us." She didn't answer right away. She looked out at the land, then back at him. "What do you want, Luke?" she asked. He blinked, slow. No one had ever asked him that and meant it. He licked his lips, looked down at his hands, and for the first time, he didn't try to hide. "I used to think home was a patch of land," Luke said. "A place with borders, a house, a last name that meant something." The wind pulled at his collar. "But every place I called home burned," he said. "Every name I carried got blood on it." Annabeth stayed quiet. She didn't try to fix it. She didn't offer comfort. She let him say it. "And then I met you," he said, "and you didn't care what I was running from. You just wanted to know where I was standing." She looked at him, not blinking. "And where are you standing now?" she asked. He turned to face her, close, still not touching, and he said, "Right here." She didn't smile. She didn't cry. She just reached out her hand, palm up, fingers open, not demanding, not begging, just offering. Luke looked at it like a man seeing a map for the first time, and then he took it, not quick, not hesitant, just sure. The next few days passed like a breath the town didn't know it had been holding. No parades, no fanfare, but no whispers either. Eric was gone. Thomas Wilde didn't return to office. Theo started fixing up the north barn, just in case things got interesting again. And in the little room behind the inn, Annabeth sat at the desk, ink smudging her wrist as she opened a new ledger. Clean pages, new account numbers, no secrets buried in the margins. Luke passed by the open window, shirt rolled to his elbows, hammer in hand, rebuilding the fence that no one had asked him to fix. He didn't say much, but he showed up every day. At the edge of town, a new sign went up. The post was crooked, the paint still wet, but the name was clear. Wilde and Callahan Stables and Supply. No first names, no titles, just truth. Rosa passed it on her way back from the bakery, nodded once, and didn't ask a thing. And inside the inn, the front door creaked open as the sun dipped low, and stayed open.